and diamonds and stones and everything beyond your wildest dreams. And Eleanor Roosevelt, she has a quote that I love so much, and it's, do something that scares you every day. And I remind myself of that, because if you're not doing something that scares you, then you're just living in the safety zone, the boring old safety zone. And another takeaway is fear might be louder, but love is stronger. So just remember that. Take that away with you. And I want to wrap this up by just saying to you all, give yourself a break. Give yourself some gratitude for just showing up today for yourself. Because I'm giving you gratitude for being able to be vulnerable and sharing my message. And I hope that it does help somebody. And just keep shining bright. Never dim your light. Thank you. And you can find me at my website for more information, for a clarity call. I love to be the voice of encouragement. And that is at www.lauramedrano.com. And click below and you will be able to receive my ebook. And my ebook is all about giving yourself that radical self-love and all that juiced up self-worth in order to call in the love you desire. So I'm just shooting you guys all love bombs today, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and take care and have a beautiful day.
They've called me bitch, whore, hoe, slut, dyke, butch, tomboy, runner, buster, your crazy ass baby's mama, fat, obese, chubby, skinny, anorexic, ugly, thick chick, trick, tramp, and prostitute, only to stare in awe, amazed at hips that spread centuries to transport God from heaven to earth, peek my full figure lips. The last person who used them said, let there be light, so naturally I'm a divine go-getter. I'm the reason streets be paved with gold. I turn the hood into glitter. I'm a woman, a black woman. Before Jesus died on the cross, he sat 9 months in my womb, skin like bronze, hair like sheep wool. Jesus take after his mama. Before noble Jew Ali conversed with the Lord, he got his nourishment from my umbilical cord. I gave birth to Marcus Garvey to make Malcolm X's blueprint to build a bigger movement. I was created in the image of God, and I got the titties to prove it. I ordered the moon to give birth to the stars, so the sun to align them. Your brain power ain't got the strength to comprehend my assignments. When I laid a label with Jupiter, I spit out Pluto just so I can confuse all the sciences. I'm a woman, a mastermind who you undermine, which is natural since your mind is undermined. I'm undefined, mother of earth, sister of a universe that took centuries to create. Once I went to Saturn just to give birth to Saturday, a woman, a written legacy liberated by a heart beating the Congo drum. A psychic read my palm, found a book of songs, tangled in Solomon songs, covered in scriptures of the Quran. You know I cycle generations every 28 days. I got saviors waiting in my fallopian tube for that turn to surface. I am the church and the mosque and the trap house. My Lord self to build those builders. God say my needs will be met, so I'm never hungry, I'm never thirsty. I was built with my own milk. If I say it, then it will manifest. When I gave birth to the son, I gave him his own day to put the week to rest. So every Sunday, the week would rest. I'm a woman storing stories of stories in my bras. You know, the closest thing I've ever been to failure was when I gave birth to Fall. A woman, descendant of a field Negro, the cage bird who sang. So I put locks in my head to remember those chains. What you know about a woman, a black woman to be exact. Didn't y'all witness Katrina's impact? Random fact. Once I took a nap, I overslept. So So time got pushed back an hour. I'm the power of angels, so I be chilling with my wings up. They told me I didn't have any taste. So I spit out for a season just to spice things up. Let me tell you about this skin. This is chocolate covered coated moon. How many licks would it take to get to heaven? Reflection of the night light. Daytime didn't come from night light. Darkness don't give birth to light, right? So the very next time you decide to hold my equal pay, remember who holds your namesake. The woman, the original woman, from the motherland, Mother Nature, navigating national night storms, no GPS, just me on PMS. I'm a woman. You'll find God in my battle scars. You'll find God in my womb. You'll find God in all of my ruins. So you keep on waiting on your Savior, brother, and I'll continue to give birth to him.
Hi, my name is Michelle. And first, I just want to say thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I don't take that for granted because I know that there's a lot of dynamic women here and there's lots of rooms that you could have came into. But for some reason, you were led to me. And I want you to know that I honestly want to thank you for taking that time. I also want to let you know, because you were drawn to me, because you were led here to me, that I want you to open your ear. I want you to open your heart. And I want you to sit back and just let me explain my story, my secret, what it took for me to go through a process of purifications to find my authentic self in the midst of leaping with no net and nobody there. I want to tell you a story today about true faith. You know, often I hear people say, where's your faith? Do you have faith? Where's your faith? Have you ever had anybody say that to you? Well, where's your faith? Oh, just go pray about it. That's what we tell people when we have issues is, oh, I'll pray for you. But how often, think about it, do you really sit back and pray for people? And see, these are the things that I want to talk about today. Things that we say that we're doing, things that we like to type about that we're doing. But in all honesty, are you really, really walking out your spirituality, your divinity in everything that you do? Is it truly a number one priority in your life? Or is making sure that you're right in a disagreement more your concern? Is it holding on to grudges rather than forgiving? Is that your answer? Is it getting on the phone and calling your girlfriends and telling your girlfriends about how disappointed you are in this other sister, not knowing that instead of planting a seed to heal, you're planting a seed to tear apart? And let me tell you why this is so devastating. See, I want to tell you a story. There was this little girl, and at about 8 years old, she had this vision. And the vision was that she was all in white and that she was talking to a multitude of people. And she could see it so vividly, so clearly, the same way that you're seeing me right now. And then she heard a voice that said, you'll always need to talk to me Now, this little girl wasn't grown up in no religious house where they went to church every Sunday or had Bible study. She wasn't a PK, nowhere near that. So this little girl was left with this vision and this ear to hear and to know when things were off. And so the little girl, even when she would go to watch The Grinch, she would hover and say, "That's evil. Oh my, I don't want to watch that. That's evil." And her parents were like, "Where did this child come from?" Right? But little did that girl know that that thing that was planted inside of her at such a young age would be the end result of her journey once she learned to become authentic. And so maybe you were like that little girl and you went through life and you always could feel a spiritual guide. And so you went off to the places where you thought that your spirit would be housed and would be held on to. And I did all that too. And I went to those places. And what happened is I started getting labels and titles and titles and labels. But inside, I was still broken. And I always had that little girl to reference back to. Yes, that little girl was me. And I always had that vision to reference back to, even when I was on the street fighting drug addiction, fighting alcoholism, in the midst of domestic violence. Every man that I had came across was hurting me, either spiritually, mentally, physically. And I always had this vision to hold on to. And so I would go to the places and I'd get the titles and I was able to be in the crowd. But I'd go home and I'd still be lost. I'd still be broken. I'd still be fighting the same demons, no matter how many titles I got. I was still fighting the loneliness of being a single woman. I was still fighting for so many years alcoholism. Here I am going out talking and encouraging people and telling them how much God loves them and that they can make it. And meanwhile, I wasn't living my own authentic self. What I learned to do, I learned to put on. God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. See, I learned to put on. How many people are putting on? And what I want to tell you, when you put on and you keep putting on, you keep putting on, you keep pushing your authentic self down more and more. And how can you really truly be in tune with what your spiritual self is if you have mask after mask after mask on? Because you're so busy hiding the fact that you're struggling with sexuality, the fact that you're struggling with alcoholism, the fact that you're struggling with substance, the fact that you're struggling with depression, the fact that you're struggling that you're raising 3 kids by yourself, and if somebody doesn't come and rescue you. But what do when nobody is there to rescue you? I had to get real with myself. And so as life progressed and this little girl turned into a teenager, she found herself, by the time she was 15 years old, she had already been through molestation from not just the men, but the women in her family doing inappropriate things, her first friends doing inappropriate things. She was dealing with so much brokenness. And then she found brothers, men that had no qualifications to be a father, let alone a husband or a boyfriend. And she began to have babies by these broken men, which led to domestic violence. Oh, I've been burnt, I've been bit, I've been kidnapped, I've been beat. And the only thing that I had was that memory, that dream, that vision, that encounter. See, nobody came to rescue me. And no matter how many times I sat myself in a church or in a congregation, there was the ability to put on. But it got to a point where I no longer wanted to put on, because I realized when I was putting on that there were young girls behind me that were looking at me. They were looking at me as the role model for what it meant to be a successful Black woman. And I could not bear the doubleness anymore. And so it came time that I had to really take a look at me. Yes, I was out doing the part. I was out at the parks. I was feeding the homeless. I was at everything. When the church doors opened, I was there, honey. But the truth of the matter was, I was playing the part. So how did you get to your authentic self? How did you get to this place of freedom? How did you get to this place where you can breathe, know that you're beautiful, know that you're worthy, and know that there's greatness inside of you? How did I get from the darkest places to that, having no family support, none, zero, zilch, having no real girlfriends? I was implanted from the East Coast to the West Coast. I didn't have that foundation with people. How did I survive? How did I survive? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I want to tell you something. After 35 years of being on the street with young ladies, my authentic self became and was developed because I had a true love. And that true love wanted to just really help people. I never really thought about myself, though. So I went on years. You know what I'm talking about? You go on years helping everybody else, looking at everybody else's situation because you don't want to look at your own ugly. But not understanding looking at your own ugly is actually the doorway into your destiny. You have to understand, you have to be a soldier in the army. You have to understand that nobody will be able to stand alongside you when you take your last breath. To whomever you might believe is on the other side of your spiritual journey. The one thing I can guarantee, I cannot guarantee the name, I cannot guarantee anything because no man or no woman knows the truth of it all. But what I can say is that when you go and you close your eyes, that whomever your spiritual guidance is, you will be there by yourself. And so it wasn't until 2009. See, I had made it up the corporate ladder, still broke. I had made it up the spiritual ladder and the church is still broken. And in 2009, I heard so clear, you need to start. It's time. And innately, I knew that that meant it was time for me not just to leave my job to start this quest to open a nonprofit that would encourage and help young women and our daughters and fix understand their continence, understand how beautiful they are because they were born woman, understanding their role as a woman, understanding how to communicate with a man, understanding getting rid of all of this and all of that, and understanding humility and understanding servitude, understanding your heart, understanding love, understanding that what we eat and what we put in our mouth is a part of how we cleanse, how we get our ear in tune to hear, how we get back to the authentic self. So you cannot go into your authentic self if all you're doing is eating death, if all you're doing is gluttony and eating all the things that are death. But yet, the most precious thing that we house, our life, our soul, is on the inside of this temple. So let me ask you how you got your spirit living. See, divinity and your authentic self leads you back to gardening. See, our authentic self, who we were before we came to the Americas, we understood the land. We were one with the land. We were in harmony with the stars, the moons, the things that we needed. When we needed those things, so we know when to plant and when to harvest. And so coming back around now, getting back to the authentic you, that means you don't owe anybody anything. So we teach them credit restoration. Make sure that your credit is at an 850 and we show them how to do that. Entrepreneurship, don't owe anybody anything. Know that what you have in your hands is your way out to your freedom. What is in your hand? What is your gift? When you understand that, you'll understand that everything that you need comes from inside of you, was already placed inside of you. And so we help take these young ladies through this transition as they're transitioning into womanhood and through womanhood. But I also help women my age and women who are older, because sometimes we just need to learn to sit, and we need to learn to stop running. It's time to stop running. It's time to face the ugly, because the ugly is the door into your divinity. It's the door into your everything. Because see, the ugly is where you have to correct your way of thinking. See, ugly says, I cannot do the same things that I did before. Ugly says, you know what? I see myself, and it's time that I get real. And it's time that I get all these layers off me so I can get to my authentic self, so I can remember the dream that was placed in me when I was a child, for the purpose of why I'm here on this planet. See, your purpose is not about materialistic things. Your purpose is not about who's loving you, who's not loving you. Your purpose is not about anything or anybody externally. In order for you to find your purpose, you must go inward. And you cannot pretend any longer. And so what happened is in 2009, I took a leap of faith. I walked away from everything. I walked away from a good paying job. And I looked up when I closed that door the last time. I looked up, I said, what are we going to do? I don't know, but I know that I trust you. Where's your faith? They say, where's your faith? I tell you where my faith is. My faith disconnected me from the world in 2009, July. And I said, you know what? I can't take myself out of this world as much as I wanted to, because I was in so much pain for being around people that proclaimed and wore titles, but they were really doing nothing but hurting, because they never faced their ugly. And so when you don't face your ugly, you project that on somebody else, and you hurt people, and you don't even know you're hurting people. And there's so many behind us and so many beside us that are hurting as Black women. And the only answer that I have is, it's time to get to your authentic self. And you can only do that by looking at your ugly, because your ugly is the door to your divinity. You cannot walk through divinity fake and think that you are actually going to sit at the feet of divinity filthy, as if divinity cannot see you. Divinity sees you. I see you, and I see brokenness throughout so many of my sisters. I see a place where they come so far spiritually, then they stop because they have not taken the time to sit and seek. And so you go back and forth, back and forth. Some days you're strong, next days you're cussing people out. It's what's inside of you. And so I invite you, and I invite you on a journey, not just for you, but for your daughters, for the family to heal, to come sit with me. Come sit with me and let me teach you the tools, the things that I had to do to come and look at my ugly and face my ugly and not blame anybody else. And you don't understand, to understand that means you're going to have to go through a purification process, the process of bringing something back to a self, spiritually, through washing, through cleansing, spiritually. What you think is divinity simply might not be. And so I ask you, if you're tired of doing this and you're ready to stand, if you're ready to turn around and look at your ugly and get in that fight and learn what it means, what does it mean and what do I have to do? What is having affirmations every day? What is getting up when I don't want to get up? What are the spiritual hours? What are the days mean? And what representation do we have for the days in our own culture? Days and things that we can ask for, specific things on specific days, realigning back to your divine self and understanding your divine self came already with the vision. All you have to do is remember. Are you ready to remember? Are you ready to remember the true you? Because I will tell you right now, the true, authentic you, the divinity, doesn't care what type of car you're driving, doesn't care how much money is in the bank. It doesn't even care about what other people think that they know about you or the labels that they put on you. It is time to break free. It is time to stand in your true divinity. And I'll tell you why, because there are so many out here hurting. And when you look at Black women and how we are depicted in music, how we are depicted in TV, how we are depicted in Hollywood, it's not a good look. And for some of our daughters, this is all that they've ever seen. See, me at 53, I got to see what women of color look like successfully with their clothes on and had dignity and had honor. Our daughters now, the next ones coming up behind us, they've never seen it. Some of them have started in the era of a Little Kim. And when you turn on TV, all of these shows that some grown women are watching, that are grown women throwing drinks at each other and cussing each other up because they have money and they're dressed looking like they should be on a pole. And many of them are, okay? And so when you look at our community, you look at our daughters, you are the healers. You are the ones that have the lived experience. You are the ones that have the story that they need to hear. But how? If you are not truly your authentic self, if you've never truly taken the time to purify from your internal cellular DNA to going on the quest of understanding your blood DNA and getting to your authentic self, learning to sit, learning to eat healthy, learning about herbs, learning about energy, learning about divinity. So I extend my hand to you and I say, those that are really truly ready to rip off the mask and to take the process of purifying yourself, mind, body, spirit, it's all intertwined, and then coming together, sitting so that you can hear that small, still voice that was given to you when you were a child, so that you can find your way back. Because that's what the Spirit truly does. The true Spirit leads you back, cleans you up, so that you can present yourself, so that you can truly hear. And then you too will become disconnected from the world and standing in your rightful place to be a healer in your home and in your community. But first, you must heal. Thank you. My name again is Michelle Broadnex. I'm the CEO and founder of Purifications International Enterprise, a non-for-profit charity that focuses on assisting young women 18 through 30 as they transition through womanhood. I am also the president of Michelle Broadnex Consulting, where I do healing work for women to get them out of that dark place and show them how to walk into their true, authentic divinity, their divine self. You can follow me at Miss Michelle Mentor on Instagram and Facebook. And again, I look forward to speaking with you. Ashe.
this conference was in person. And upon your arrival, you were told, in order to enter the venue, you had to get naked to receive all of the nuggets each speaker has for you. Are you poised to do so? The Cambridge Dictionary defines the word poised as showing very calm and controlled behavior. So I ask you, how comfortable are you with yourself right now? Are you poised to comply at this moment? Or are you poised to plead your case to keep your clothes on? Greetings. I am Professor Poise. I am an event planner, a blogger, a podcast host, a United States Air Force veteran, and most importantly, I am a woman on a mission to help women like myself silence their internal doubt and accept and walk in their purpose out loud. I define poise as being purposeful, open-minded, in tune with yourself, steady in your pursuits, expecting great things daily. And today I want to share with you the secrets of a poised mindset. Why? Well, my poised mindset is the reason I'm still here in front of you and living out my purpose. The secret to achieving this poised mindset will require you to shift your mind to be approachable, coachable, and embrace your voice as your superpower. The poised mindset is all about action, which means there is going to be some work involved for you to achieve this state of mind and for it to become a way of life for you. There is purpose in the work that you will need to do. And that purpose is what will fuel your poised journey, because I can promise you none of it will be easy, but it is necessary, honey. I remember my last few years in the military, I oversaw the customer service and shipping receiving sections. That was my job as the production control supervisor. Many additional duties included lead facility manager, supply manager, CPR, AED instructor, and sexual assault victim advocate. And also, sometimes I was asked to take on other things, and even though they weren't part of my job description, for whatever reason, I found it extremely difficult to say no. I have too much on my plate right now. With so many responsibilities, I was extremely irritable at work, and I was exhausted when I got home. I later learned there were a lot of coworkers who dreaded having to talk to me because they felt I was unapproachable. And that just wasn't who I was. And when I'm not in line with the person that I desire to be, I have to address it. After going so hard for a while, I eventually took some time off. And it was during this time that I realized I was doing way too much. And none of it was serving me any purpose at all. I needed to release some of those things that would allow me to pursue the things that I wanted to pursue, like education. A lot of times, we as women allow ourselves to get pulled in so many different directions. It's quite natural that we want to cover down because we're nurturers. We fix things. But how fast can that distract you from what you were doing for yourself, what you need to be doing for yourself in that very moment, and even what you could get around to doing for yourself if you were able to move purposely for yourself? As soon as I spoke up for myself and the weight of all of the extra duties was lifted, I began to be a more pleasant person, obviously. I wasn't irritable anymore because I wasn't exhausted. And I became a more approachable person, making my team more cohesive. And because that team was more cohesive, they were more open-minded and they were coachable. So being coachable is the second ingredient to achieving a poised mindset. To be coachable means that you are open to improving whatever it is that you may want, need, or need to correct or eliminate. Oftentimes when a person wants to offer their advice, they'll ask something like, hey, can I give you some advice? Now, this is a yes or no question, right? Yeah. So how often do you hear a person exercise their right to say no? I don't want your advice. I don't care to hear your advice. Not very often, right? Well, I have, and let me tell you, The shock on that person's face was absolutely unforgettable. I'll never forget it. But in that situation, I said no for a very good reason. That person was not coming from a positive place, but there was one time in my life that had I not been open-minded, I would not have had the opportunities that I've had today. Back in 2008, while I was stationed at McGuire Air Force Base, I was working in the Maintenance Operations Center, or MOC for short. The military loves acronyms. So we operated in the secure office of the base command post, and that's the nucleus of the base operation. And as a MOC controller, my job was to coordinate all things related to preparing an aircraft to fly a mission. Things like coordinating refuels, loading and unloading cargo, or required maintenance actions on the aircraft. No day was ever the same, and with planes taking off and landing throughout the day, some periods of the day were busier than others. So one particular day, our superintendent, Sean, by the way, Sean said I could use his real name when I share this story. So Sean is now married to my sister friend, but at the time they had recently started dating, so I didn't really know him on a personal level, but he was the type of leader that took the time, and he is still the type of leader that took the time to get to know his members well enough to know what motivated each of us. Getting back to the story, on this particular day, Sean pops his head out of the office and he yells to Senior Miss Smith, me, at the time, to come to the office and help him out with something. Now, Senior Miss Smith, she was a firecracker. So I yelled back to him that I was busy with inbound planes. And Sean replied calmly, turn your board over to Aaron Bates, we'll call him. I really need your help specifically. As reluctant as I was, I turned my board over and I bounced on back to the office. So when I get to the office, Sean says, hey, I need your help with something. I need your help identifying the person on this phone call. All communication is recorded in the command post. So he pulled the recording of this particular phone call that he had received some negative feedback from. We'll call this person Dave. So Sean hits play, and there's two voices, Dave and a woman. Dave is asking the woman to assist him with some data entries, and the woman is aggressive with her responses. Like she's going in. And at that moment, she even asked, why was he calling this base? Listening to her talk was like hearing a person scratch their fingers on a chalkboard or a cardboard in slow motion. It was absolutely awful and irritating. It was like going through me. So I turned to Sean and I'm like, who is this? And so I was pretty raw at the time with my vocabulary, but Sean put his head down and he was shaking his head like, I don't know if I want to tell her this, and she might not want to know, but finally he says, that's you. And my heart just sank. Can you imagine listening to yourself but not even recognizing your own voice? The person I heard that day was not the person that I wanted to be or wanted other people to think I was. In my mind, I thought I was being a confident controller, owning my responsibilities, which it did not include the aircraft that Dave was calling about. But I thought I was being efficient by, not doing what he was asking me to do, insisting that he could have had controllers in his location take care of those same tasks. And I thought I was right. The person on that call was loud. She was brash and extremely disrespectful. What I know now is that I was definitely not operating with a poised mindset because I was not exactly in tune with myself. There was something that I had not dealt with that was affecting me mentally and emotionally. I had been blocking this thing for 4 long years. In my mind, and like a lot of sexual assault survivors, I thought if I didn't think about it, made sure that I was always in control in every situation, I would never have to deal with my reality, that truth, my truth, ever again. And your girl was wrong, but you know what I did? I took the time that Sean gave me after he let me hear myself, and I actually used the time to reflect. So he sent me home early that day, which was a Friday, and I had all weekend to do nothing but think about how I was going to fix this. I replayed that recording in my head so many times. I dissected every one of my statements and responses and mentally rewrote them until I was satisfied with the way the conversation should have gone in my head, at least, I role played. I actually recorded myself so that I could assess my tone, my volume, my inflections, every little thing that I could think of. Why? Like, listening to that recording was embarrassing, and I vowed I would never be in that situation again. I was not going to give anyone the opportunity to see me lose my cool in that way. When I returned to work, Sean did all the wonderful things a solid leader should do. He asked me how I was feeling. He asked what my takeaways were. He gave me some feedback as well, but he was pretty satisfied with my own self-assessment and the things I planned to implement. Finally, he asked if I wanted to also speak with someone other than himself, like a mental health professional or a member of the clergy. In all my thinking and analyzing over that weekend that passed, not once had I even thought about counseling. But at that moment, I decided to take him up on that. I was still feeling a bit down about it all, so I figured, why not? What better, or who better to vent to than a therapist, right? I was allowing myself to be coachable. I knew that if I was going to gain my confidence back, I needed to get my emotions about this situation in check. I began to do the work with my therapist. It began very slow, but I kept at it. There were some times when I thought about not going back to therapy, but I have always had this desire to be the best that I could be, and somehow that always wins for me. So I couldn't let myself down. It's okay to be slow, but be sure to be steady in your pursuits. Know that each small victory is a step in the direction that you want to be going. When you make up in your mind to do something, that intentional shift in your mindset will begin to open doors for you, and people will take notice. The only thing people on the other end of those communication devices in the mob that I was using had to associate with my name was my voice. Your voice is your superpower. And this is the third and final ingredient of the poised mindset. I'm talking about your internal voice and your external voice. Both have the power to heal and destroy just the same. And with my internal voice, I talk to myself. I tell myself nice things. I encourage myself. I affirm myself. I tell myself, I love you, girl. And then I smile at myself. And you should too. Being honest, I can admit that that has not always been my internal conversation, but I've worked extremely hard to get here. And guess what? I actually love it here. Now, with my external voice, my goal is to make the person I'm communicating with feel like they are in a spa, receiving the massage of their life, or maybe even twirling in an open field of beautiful flowers in full bloom when they hear my voice. Yes, I'm extra. I'm extra with that. But when I embraced the power of my voice and how being in control of my voice was absolutely essential to my future endeavors, I began to feel the shift in the energy I was receiving from those I communicated with. Sean eventually received another phone call from Dave. Remember Dave? And Sean shared with me that Dave had assumed Sean took his advice and fired that Airman Smith girl. And Sean told him that he had not fired me. So Dave asked Sean what happened to her, meaning me. And Sean says he told him that he had just heard him talking on the radio to me. Dave was pretty shocked, according to Sean. So he wanted to know how Sean fixed me. Yeah, fixed me. So Sean told him, I didn't fix her. He didn't fix me, He told him that Erin Smith, she corrected herself. Listen, we all have the power to change our mindsets. I've given you 3 ingredients that make up the secret to a poised mindset. In order for you to be purposeful, open-minded, in tune with yourself, steady in your pursuits, and expecting great things daily, you must change your mindset and allow yourself to be approachable, coachable, and recognize your voice is your superpower. So I challenge you, challenging you all to do a self-assessment. Ask yourself, am I approachable? Am I coachable? Am I in control of my voice, my superpower? If you answered no to any of these questions, you need to explore why. You have some work to do. You need to get naked first, especially if your issue is deep-rooted. Find you a therapist that is a good fit for you. And if you just need some guidance, seek out a life coach that specializes in what you need guidance in. Lastly, if you want to connect with me, you can do that on Instagram and Twitter at Professor Poise, or you can email me at poise1@professorpoise.com. I am Professor Poise, and I encourage you to silence your internal doubt, accept and walk in your purpose out loud. You got this. Chin up and strut this, honey. Thank you, and that's my time.
BlackWoman Confidential, what's up? Oh my God, the crowd's going wild. You guys cannot put me in front of a screen and say this is virtual because I see each and every one of your faces. So if you have the ability to type in, I want you guys to say, what's up, Angel? BlackWoman Confidential. All right, so take a breath. We're going to do an inhale. And we're going to do an exhale. We're going to do an inhale. And we're going to do an exhale. And we have let it out. So now, because this is going to be an interactive workshop, I want you to say, I am walking in the best season of my life. Okay? Let me say it again, because I know that was a lot of words. And I know some of us got to take notes. We're going to say, I am walking in the best season of my life. Okay, say it one more time, because I do have the gift of gab, and I also can go all real fast. So I am walking in the best season of my life. I'm gonna count to 5, and then we're going to scream this at the top of our lungs, and we are going to say it with conviction. We're going to say it with confidence. And BlackWoman Confidential, we are going to believe it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me hear you. I am walking in the best season of my life. Woo! Woo! Woo-hoo! Yes, I am pumped up. I was like screamed into the microphone right there because that pumped me up. So that means we said it with conviction. We said that with confidence. And we said that we are in the best season of our life because we believe it, and we are going to walk as if it is already so. Because guess what? It is already so. So as I was preparing to do this workshop, guys, first let me reintroduce myself. All right. My name is I love the great poets that we call hip hop artists, right? But I'm also the queen and make up her own lyrics. Right? So I actually had to get the actual lyrics to some songs that I'm going to be quoting. Actually, one song that I'm going to be quoting to you guys, because I don't want anybody to be all blowing up my email saying, Angel, you cool and all, but that ain't the words to that song, girl. So I had to get the lyrics correct
for you tonight. So my name is Angel Riley. I am a life coach, the CEO of Destined for Greatness. We call ourselves a multidimensional life coach, a multidimensional coaching and development organization. I believe that, we can live our best life following 4 pulses: faith, love, finance, and career. Because when you align yourself in those 4 areas, then you will always see yourself thriving. You will always see that you're striving for that next level. You will always see you are walking in your purpose, living intentionally and living your best life, because you, my dear, are destined for greatness. So get back on point now that I introduced myself. All right. I wasn't going to try to quote Jay-Z. All right, guys. But I like that song, just that part of that song, right? And who sang the song? Bring them out, bring them out. Yeah, that's the other one I like. All right, anyway. But while we are on the whole I'm coming out, and as we're preparing for this session and talking about coming back stronger and more resilient, all I can think of was the #1 diva, Diana Ross. Now, you guys know her song, I'm Coming Out. And, so I just want you to sit here and mentally hear that song, right? So I want you to start rocking with me right now. Come on. Now, I wish I could sing, because I will sing it to you, right? But I don't want to hurt your ears. And I want you guys to stay for this workshop, because I'm going to give you some really valuable information. So I'm not going to kill it by starting it out singing it. So I just want us, get your little bounce on, get your little shoulders. You know how we do it, girls. Come on, ladies. Let's just do it. We cute, right? We cute. So you got the music in your head, right? And then she says, I'm coming, hey, out, hey, what? I'm coming, coming, okay, out, hey, come on, sing it with me, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, I'm coming out. What? I want the world to know. Got to let it show. I'm coming out. Hey, I want the world to know. I got to let it show. What? I'm so DC. Guys, I'm so DC. I had to ad lib. I had to hey. I had to what. But let me tell you, when you are coming out and going into that next level, you don't have to come out from the bottom. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Come on now. You could be anywhere, any lesson, any lesson that you've learned, any stage in your life. It does not matter where you're coming out. We're going next level, baby. And that's why I love that song. That is the theme song right there, because we say, I'm coming. What? Out. Yes. I'm coming. All right. All right. Come on. Coming out. All right. Come on. We're going to do it. Now we're going to go into the verse. Now, I can't sing and dance and read. That's too much work for me, because that's not my gift. All right, guys. My gift is to encourage and inspire. So I'm just going to read the lyrics of the first verse. And it says, there's a new me coming out, and I just had to live, and I want to give. I'm completely positive. I think this time around, I am going to do it like you never knew it. Oh, I'll make it through. The times has come for me to break out of this shell. I have the shout out. Let me hear y'all. Hey, coming. What? Out. I'm coming out. I'm going to stop being DC in a second, but this is my jam right here. So let me just let that fly. Let me let that roll. Let me let that go. Okay, guys, that's it. I love this song. I love the act. Now, I'm not going to tell y'all those are not the lyrics that I sing, and I'm going to continue to sing my made up lyrics, but those are the real lyrics. And they're actually really good and they're applicable to this. But we are talking about building our confidence after we just took a blow, no matter what that blow may be. I have a lot of entrepreneurs, awesome times. A lot of business owners and our businesses are having to pivot because of the environment we've been in the last year. Some of us are coming out stronger. Some of us are coming out looking a lot different. And some of us are just reevaluating our plans. It doesn't mean anything. Professionally, we could have been at the height of our profession and been there at that height. Things are going absolutely well for us. And then you just have that pivot. Let me give you guys a little tidbit. I've worked for a Fortune 500 company, a very well-known, notable Fortune 500 company for 8 years. 6.5 of those 8 years, I was busting my tail, doing all this stuff, getting perfect performance evaluations, but I could not get a promotion. I'm getting decent raises. I'm making really good money, just having that name that this is where I work and the type of position I was in. But I wanted a promotion. I wanted to do something different. And I had to learn what was the difference between having your time up at a place or lowering your standards, your belief in who you are, because you committed yourself so much to a company. So I even went as far as relocating states for this particular company for a lateral. I didn't even get a promotion to relocate. I got a lateral. It was a lateral move because I was showing the leadership in this company that I was committed. I'm changing my career. I'll go to another state. I'll continue to be flexible and go to any state. I'm even willing to go out of the country because I was committing to the company versus committing to myself and my career. Fast forward. Let me add, when I relocated, it was for a temporary assignment. So in 2 years, I wouldn't have had a job. I had to find another job in the company or at another company. So fast forward, 18 months later, I actually got a permanent position with the company and they moved me back to the DC area. Check this out, y'all. In 2 weeks, I lived in Texas. I was in Texas. I was established in Texas. I accepted the position, which I had to negotiate a salary. I only been there at that point, almost 8 years at that point. And I had to negotiate the salary for the promotion and the permanent job. And in 2 weeks' time, I had to get my townhouse in Texas together for the movers to come. And I just had to get on a plane, come back to the DC area. I came back on that Sunday and I started my new job that Monday with no training. The first 30 days on that job, my job got reorged. And I'm like, no big deal. I'm just on a different team. None of the dynamics of my job changed. And then I was back in Dallas in May for a conference for my new position. And, and I was missing Dallas. I was really missing my church family. And I was happy to be in DC. I'm a native Washingtonian, born and raised in Ward 7. What's up, Deanwood? But anyway, I was really missing Texas and missing church and the life that I was building there. And the last day of this conference, my new manager calls me in to a conference room. And I just finished working my tail off on a special project that was a corporate-wide project that brought great visibility to the company. And so I'm thinking that I'm getting recognized or something for all the work that I did. And instead I was told that my job was reorged again. And not only was it reorged, the job that I relocated back to DC for was no longer my job. And they wanted to move me to a remote site, which is like a customer site, or have me work out of my home, which I run a business out of my home. So now I don't want this Fortune 500 company trying to tell me what I can and cannot do in my home, which I run a business out of here in this home. And mind you, I still was not unpacked in this home because I didn't have time to unpack my things, And I was going to take the job because it's like I have this nice 6-figure job. I don't want to do the work, but it's easier to find a job with the job. And weekend, and God spoke to me. And that Monday, I decided that I was going to leave. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have money like you would think I would have money. And I just left because I believed in this song. And I was going through other things in life that I had come out of. But what I had to learn was that sometimes we fall so into situations that we can't see our future. We can't see what's holding us back. And a lot of times that is fear. I feared leaving that company because I feared that I would not be successful. I feared that I wouldn't make the money that I was making. And let me tell you something. You know what I found out? I wasn't even making market rate. I was fearing no one could afford me, but they weren't paying me. What I found out after I left was market rate for the work that I was doing. You know, and so when you talk about I'm coming out and the lyrics of this song, there's a new me coming out. Sometimes when you have to look at what life is doing to you and how it's going, and some things, some changes or things that you're doing that's holding yourself back, the hardest thing is to look yourself in the face and say, I am the problem. I'm not seeing some things that I want to see in my life because I am the problem. So I got to put on my diva Diana Ross and I got to sing it. And I have to say, there's a new me coming out. And I just had to live. Oh, I feel that. And I want to give. I'm completely positive. I think this time around, I'm going to do it. Now, I'm going to let you guys know. You know what happened? It took 19 months for me to return to corporate America. But I returned to corporate America making more money in a higher level position. And I also launched a business destined for greatness. And I am working in my passion and have purpose into building things. So when we're looking at building a life, a sustainable life for myself, building what I consider the best life for myself, building what I call living intentionally. It's not selfish for you to set goals for yourself and to say, this is what I'm aspiring to do. This is where I'm going. So I want to kind of go through with you guys and just let's lay this out. We'll have a workbook and all. You guys will be able to access an email series about building that confidence. And I'm not telling you to leave a job or leave anything like that, but whatever it is, sometimes we have to see what fear we have that's holding us back, pushing us back. And what you'll get in the workbook and the email series of building self-confidence is an email series that you guys can sign up for free. You can see right here the link I have to sign up for it is right here on this broadcast. All right. But what I want you to understand, we all want to be successful. As the awesome poet Trey Songz says, I just want to be successful. But I want you to understand, success and self-improvement are married. Y'all, they are married and they are happy. As long as you are continuing to improve yourself, you will always be successful. So that's an easy way to remember that. Success and self-improvement are married. And that's a strong marriage. Ain't nothing going to break that marriage up. Okay? Everything happens to us, happens in purpose. I always say you're walking in your purpose. So whether you're experiencing a high or you're experiencing a low, everything that's happening is for a purpose. So instead of us sitting there and wallowing, I was angry. I was angry 6 months into a job that I relocated states in 2 weeks for bought a house. I closed in my house in like less than 30 days so I could have a place to live. I did all of that. And in 6 months, you want to tell me that the job that I was starting to enjoy, that was no longer my job? I was angry. I should have been angry. It was a slap in the face. But instead of sitting there and saying, whoa, it's me, I'm never going to do anything, I started singing my Diana. I'm coming out wet. And I want the world to know I'm living my best life because I trusted God in my faith. And I said, I got to go. And let me tell you, not one time did I struggle financially. Now, I didn't have no abundance, but I did not have any financial struggles. And then before you know it, people were just coming and sewing into my business for no reason. I was getting cash apps. I was getting Zales. One of my girlfriends invited me to lunch, gave me these beautiful cards. One of the cards had a generous gift card in it. I was like, oh my God. So a lot of things I was able to buy for my businesses because people just started sewing into my business. But that also let me know that I was serving others well, because when you're doing things authentically and selflessly, everything just starts coming back to you. I tell you that true story. Your life experiences are what make you dynamic. It's what makes you magnificent. It's what makes you the bomb diggity. Yo diggity, no doubt, right? I probably made those words up. I don't know. You got this. So I want you to sit here and we're talking about self-improvement and success are a couple. The only way that marriage stays happy in our individual households, if we stop thinking or feeling like we're a failure, because we're not. I chose to walk away from that job, but for some reason, I was feeling embarrassed. I was feeling like I failed. Like I finally made it at this company. I finally got a promotion. And then I just walked away. I was so embarrassed and I felt like a failure. But I wasn't. How can others accept you if you cannot accept you? If I did not do that, I would not be on this platform today sharing the story and the success strategies with you. That sounds like success to me. I'm just saying. All right. You know, when people are feeling so low and down about themselves, help them move up. During my journey, and I always had the plan to return to corporate America. How long I'm staying in corporate America? Who knows? That's only God knows that, right? But at the end of the day, so many people were reaching out to me, networking with me. Here I am in the same situation as they are. People who got laid off, people who got fired, people who were in the same situation with the reorganization, except where they didn't have a job. And everyone was reaching out to me. And I had my moments where I was just like, why am I helping everyone else? And I'm in this same situation. You know, people competing for the same jobs I was competing for. Everyone was just coming after me. And I was just helping. I was just helping, even to my own detriment sometimes. But I was just helping and helping and helping. You know, so the whole thing is, I could have easily wallowed with them and let them pull me down. But because I'm selfless and I had my sense of purpose and I already knew what was important to me and what my values and aspirations were, I could help them and not fall down. And in return, I started lifting everybody else up. So help them move up. Don't let someone come to you and then pulling you down with them. Help move them up, because that's the only way success is going to happen for you. That is the only way. The job that I have, the corporate position I have now, is not the position I applied for. Because I was being selfless, because I continued to improve myself and did the things. You guys saw the 7-day steps I gave you in the previous keynote. I'm telling you, it works, right? Because I was walking in that purpose. They adjusted the job to meet me. I've been in corporate America over 20 years, and that never happened. But now I work at a company that adjusted the job to meet my requirements. Yeah. Ooh, God, I felt that. I felt that. But it was because I never stayed down. I didn't let other people pull me down. And as others were reaching out, asking me to help them, even though I was in the same situation, I did it. And you know what also happened? I birthed destined for greatness. It allowed me to be able to be on this platform on this very day. So don't let other people bring you down. Don't let other people kill your dreams, your desires, and where you're going to be. You know, how you view the world. You know, the world is a large room for lessons, not mistakes. I've been divorced twice, y'all. Twice by the age of 39. So 18 years. I pretty much have been in a marriage and divorced twice. So I could look at that and be like, yo, I'm done with this whole dating thing. Yo, I used to be embarrassed and I want to tell people that, right? To where now I'm like, well, gosh, look how much better I am. Look at what I learned from my first husband who passed away, God bless his soul. But is it there? Look what I learned and how I grew and how I became better from there. To my ex-husband, to look how I've grown and how I became better from there. And be able to help and inspire and encourage others by sharing that story. So I learned a lesson. It wasn't a mistake. Getting married I was in love. That's what people would love. That's what you do. You get married, right? Was that a mistake? It's definitely a lesson. And then we also had to remember things take time. We live in such a microwave society that we want stuff to happen right now. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can't tell me that my body is not voluptuous, because it is voluptuous, but that's also my way of saying that I can lose a couple of pounds. Okay. So voluptuous, lose a couple of pounds. It all says the same thing to me. Right. But I know that I didn't just become voluptuous overnight. It took some years to get as voluptuous as I am. Right. So as I continue to define the beauty in my body, it's not going to just happen overnight. So just remember, things take time. And when you're working on yourself and your self-improvement, it results to your inner stability, your personal development, and your success. It comes from your self-confidence, your self-appreciation, and your self-esteem. So success and self-improvement, they're a couple, they're married. And if you're not constantly improving yourself, you're not going to see success in certain areas of your life. And I hate to make such a bold statement, but I know it to be true and I see it so many times. So this is one of the things that I challenge my clients to do, and I'm going to share it with you. I call it the T. So I want you to put a T. Do it right now while we're in this workshop. This workshop's interactive. This is what we do in workshops, right? Get your piece of paper out and I want you to put a T. It's like a capital T, or I prefer a capital T. It looks a little bit better. So do your T just like this. So on one side of your T, I want you to write 2 things about yourself that you feel is not worthy, something that you don't have a lot of confidence about. You guys see all this beautiful melanin? There used to be a time, back in the 90s when I grew up in DC, being dark skinned wasn't in. So I used to have serious, I hate to say it like that because I'm beautiful, but but it was a thing where I had serious self-esteem issues about my complexion, my beautiful melanin. So that's an example. So I will put on my T, and I did this exercise myself as well. And I will put dark skin. There it goes. So on the other side, so this side over here, that's my dark skin. The other side, now let me change the perspective of that dark skin. What did I just say to y'all? My beautiful melanin. That's what I am. Dark skin equals beautiful melanin. So every time that I refer to my skin, I talk about how beautiful my melanin is. I'm not dark skinned. I'm beautifully melanated. That's what I am. I don't know about you. You know, I mean, it takes a lot. I was born like this. This is what makes me uniquely me, right? What did I talk about? My voluptuous body, right? That is sister could lose a sister could lose some weight, right? You know, the thing is, you know, overweight. On the other side, I'm voluptuous. This body is voluptuous. You want to look at that thing, at that, and say, how am I speaking to myself? How do I perceive myself, no matter what it is? You know, I have a lot of people that feel like that they can't see certain levels of career success because they don't have higher education, don't have a college degree. Bull crap. Because you are just as smart and you're just as talented because you have years of experience that cannot be learned in a classroom. So, lack of college degree, 40 years of experience in accounting or whatever your experience is. So look at your perspective. So do your T. And I want you to write down things, you know, and you can make the list as exhaustive as you want. You can work on this for a long time, but on the other side of the T, I want you to give yourself a different perspective. So every time you start to talk about or reference those things, I want you to go to that positive perspective. Beautifully melanated, voluptuous body. And that's how you always, we're going to change our course of action by changing our thinking and self-improvement, because that's success. That is success. They're married, y'all. They're married. And share your story. And doing little things are actually big things. You know, I date, and this one guy stopped sending good morning because I was just done, right? So I was just done, and I didn't communicate that. Bad me, right? And the first morning I stopped saying good morning, I get this text. We need to talk. What's going on? I look forward to that good morning text from you. That makes my day that much better. All I was doing, y'all, was after I finished praying and meditating and checking my emails and posting to social media and saying good morning to my girl chat, I would text this guy good morning. So you see, he was way down on my priority list, right? Yeah, that's so terrible. I probably shouldn't share this publicly. But at the end of the day, that small thing of what I was doing, of just saying good morning, it was a big difference to him. So he said. You know, so just remember the small things that you do are really the big things. So mom, when you write that I love you note to your kids, and even though your kids might be, you know, in their little moods, like kids be in their moods, right? You know, when you don't do that, I love you, what's going on? What's happening with that? You know, I get in my feelings when I go into my little seasons, and I'm an introvert. And I put my phone do not disturb, and my mama is not, you know, she's not exempt from that. But then I be in my feelings because my mama be respecting my space and knowing, okay, Angel gotta fill herself up. She doing her do. But I'm like, my mama ain't even called me, and I'm the middle child. It's four of us. I'm the third, but it's three of us girls. I'm the middle girl, so I'm truly the middle child. So I call my mom, and I'd be like, you ain't even. I'm like, you always forget about the middle child. I thought you was busy, girl. I know, but it's the small things. Just hearing mom, Angel, it's mom. I'm just seeing how you doing. Like not having that for a couple of days because I was in my little world and I was getting my little stuff together. You know, the little things are truly the big things. So why is it so important for us to improve ourselves? Because sometimes when all of our doubts, fears, and insecurities get all wrapped up in these beautiful minds of ours, we start to wish we were somebody else. Oh, I wish I was that person because they are lighter skinned. Oh, I wish I was that person because they are more financially stable than I am. Oh, I wish I was that person because their husband provides for them. Oh, I wish I was that person because they had kids. Oh, I wish I was that person because they are the CEO of their company. All this, all that. But let me tell y'all something. Most people that we wish we were, most people that we think that their lives are so much better than ours or more ideal than us, they're just as scared as us. And a lot of times they're wishing that they had some quality like you. So at the end of the day, we want to keep improving ourselves and not looking at anyone else. And a lot of times people aren't even thinking about you either. You know, I have a story of this situation. I found out this woman stopped talking to me. And every time I would see this woman, I said that if eyes could kill, this woman has murdered me, because the look she would give me, I was like, what did I do to this woman? And I had to this day, and I found out finally years later. And it was all, and I was like, she won't talk to me. She blocked me. So even if I wanted to be the bigger person, what did I do to this woman? Because her eyes were murdering me. And then years later, I come to find out by happenstance that someone else told her that I said something, which I'm like, yo, like, I'm from, okay, if you're from the DC area, y'all know we keep it real. If we got a problem with you, we're going to tell you we got a problem with you, right? You're not going to find that out from anybody else. And if somebody gets back to us, I know, I'm sorry, it's a DC thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm true to my hood, all right? But anyway, so I was like, so she's that angry at me for something I didn't even say. And to make it worse, something that I didn't even know was said to her, but her looks were murdering me. But to flip that other perspective, there was something about me that gave her insecurities. So there's a quality about me that she wished she had. So it was easy to get into that mindset that she had adopted to say, I'm going to just hate this person, versus I didn't even hear anything from this person. And I just, want to work it out. So that's why we got to work on improving ourselves, because now she and I won't have a good relationship. That could have been something wonderful. We could have helped one another reach and aspire goals, but at the end of the day, because of that mindset, it restricted something. It took away something. I'm not trying, I'm not being boastful or anything, but that's everything. That's why we want to communicate effectively with one another. We don't want our own insecurities to stop us from being successful. So even when you have that insecurity, even if that insecurity is, I don't like to do conflict because I don't want to damage relationships, I have to have those uncomfortable conversations, because that's a part of self-improvement, and that's how I see success. So we want to look at building our self-esteem. Self-improvement and success are married. And if we don't have the confidence, the esteem to continuing to move forward, it's not going to happen for us, y'all. We want our marriage to be happy. We want our success and self-improvement marriage to be happy, because, if they not happy in us, we're not going to see much. We're not going to see much. All right. And so I want us two pictures. So now I want you to draw again. I'm so bossy. I'm just telling y'all do all this stuff. First you had to do the T. Now I want you to draw a circle. So I want you to draw a circle that like a dartboard, okay? And I basically want you to do 6 circles. So just like you're doing like the darts, like you're going to throw darts, 6 circles. So draw your 6 circles. And basically I want you to, once you finish drawing your 6 circles, I want you to look at that and say, this is me. This dartboard is me. And in this dartboard, there are basically 6 negative things that happens in everybody's life that we want to dodge. So if this is you, here's 6 areas, 6, pins that can kind of come at you that we want to be ducking and dodging, because we always want bullseye. We always want bullseye. We always want bullseye. But sometimes we can't get the bullseye. So we have to know how to recover, how to prepare and recover quickly from when you're not getting that bullseye. All right. So the first one, the negative work environment. Y'all, how many of y'all be like, okay, I'm not going to say nothing to this coworker because I'm about to go off. Y'all know when DMX came out, y'all about to make me lose my mind up in here. Okay, how many of us have them coworkers? Or how many? I can't say anything because, you got them passive aggressive coworkers. Everything I say, just because I'm a Black woman, just because I'm a little bit more educated, just because I can speak well, I can speak the Queen's English when I need to speak the Queen's English. How many times do you sit there and you're like, oh my God, this work environment is so toxic? You have to be aware of that. The dog eat dog theory, as it's called, where everyone is just fighting to get ahead, where you get those who stab you in the back, it's just like, oh no. So how are we going to do that? Where you're working late, you're working through your lunch hour, you're having problems at home, because you're doing something, you want to establish a boundary. So I like the whole visual of a dartboard, because not only are you saying these are negative factors that can be coming into you as you improving yourself, this is also a good symbol of boundaries. So it's like, okay, I'm going to speak to this employee, my colleague, and say, look, I don't understand where we're miscommunicating at, but it's probably best that we keep all communications by email or, just in, I don't know, I'm not an HR person, y'all don't listen to me. But anyway, but establishing that boundary, because the last thing that you want to do is be going into a toxic environment. All right. It's write out that plan, speak to a manager, to a coach, to HR, whomever, so you can be sure that you're dodging that environment. And also looking at when is it time to make that exit. I told you guys I was in the job for 6.5 years that I was not getting a promotion. I was getting perfect performance. I never got a perfect performance evaluation anywhere until I was in this particular position, but I could not get a promotion. That was actually toxic. That was toxicity. All right. The second dart, the second circle is other people's behaviors. Oh my God. So how many of you guys got that person that you'll call, you be so excited about something? Oh my God, I am speaking at BlackWomen Confidential. I am so excited to share, in this workshop. And while you're ready to just share your news, they changed the whole topic onto them. Or they start throwing little daggers at you. And like, oh, well, what is that? Well, what they about? How many people? I ain't never heard of them, and they can't be all that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Protect your space. It's called spirit of discernment. When your vibes ain't vibing, sometimes, and I had to learn that the hard way, because I'd be so excited and I want to share because I want everyone to be successful. I learn, I know, I want to share that with other people, but everyone can't accept that. So protect your space, protect your boundaries. Other people behavior. Don't let it get sucked in. Don't let them suck you in. Girl, please, you too good for that. All right, the next dart, changing your environment. I love this. This is awesome. You cannot be a green bug on a brown field. You want to remain flexible and adaptable. If you are a green bug on a brown field, that means you are thriving, you are living, you are striving. That brown field is dead. So why are you going to keep yourself amongst those areas that are dead? So changing that environment. The more successful you become, the more you start walking in your purpose, living intentionally, living your version of your best life, because you are destined for greatness. The more that you are doing that, the more green you will become, and the more brown your comfort zone, your comfort crew becomes. It's okay to establish those particular boundaries there. Past experiences. The world is of lessons. Don't say I'm never gonna be in a relationship because I'm divorced. I'm never gonna work for corporate America again because they did me wrong. I'm never gonna work for this type of company again because the environment I was in was toxic. I'm never gonna speak at this conference again because I didn't get the return on my investment. I'm never gonna nope. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. So we're gonna look at that past experience and look at the lesson learned. I was afraid to go out, so I convinced myself that this was the best company for me. I was afraid to have a difficult conversation with a colleague in a toxic work environment. I didn't prepare for a conference to get a good return on investment. Take ownership. Make sure, and ownership can also be, I've been at a conference, where that the conference planners have, some organization issues and stuff. But that was a lesson learned. What are some things to look for? So make sure that you're looking at that lesson learned to grow. Dart 5, the negative worldview. This is so pertinent for right now. We in this virtual environment, this COVID environment, we have people doing crazy things, trying to get the vaccination, and it is just insane. We had a very tumultuous election. You want to look at that negative worldview. Don't get so wrapped up. Turn the TV off. When a year ago, when all of this started happening with COVID, everyone was all, because we've never been through this. For a lot of us, this is our first time. And we're all into it. But at the end of the day, we had to turn the TV off because it was bringing depression. It was like, oh my God, seeing all these people dying, knowing people who were affected by COVID. One of my friends from college, and also from the DC area, she lost her mother, her brother, and her sister, all from COVID, all within like a 3-week time. That's sad. I'm sorry, God. But that is sad because these people. So you got to look at that. So it was just so much. I mean, that's sad, but it was bringing on negativity. And what we had going on in this country at that time with the world to now, where we're just like, I just want to get out. You want to look at that and really protect yourself from that world view. And then that last line on your dartboard, the determination theory. And it says, the way you are and your behavioral traits is said to be a mixed end product of your inherited traits, your genetics, your upbringing, and your environmental surroundings, such as your spouse, the place you work, the economy, or your circle of friends. We talked about that. Sometimes, what did they say? It takes 5 generations to get out the ghetto or something like that. We like to stay in our comfort zone. And sometimes if we don't have a first generation college student in my family, and I could have stayed in DC, I had a scholarship to go to Howard, and I could have stayed home. But something was like, girl, you need to go away. So I went to North Central West Virginia, to this small college that my high school class was bigger than the population at that college. But it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. It was the best decision that I made as a 17-year-old, because that allowed me to get out of that environment that was holding me back. So that was our dartboard exercise. All right. So we have the dart. So first we did our T, and now we did our darts. All right. And I'm not going to sing again to the end. All right. But I want you guys to remember, write this down. Write this down. Being positive and staying positive is a choice. Being positive and staying positive is a choice. I choose to be happy today. I choose to be positive today. I choose to work on my self-improvement today. I choose to be successful today. It is a choice. The tagline of my company, Destined for Greatness, is you are the heartbeat of your destiny. That's saying you choose to be great. You choose to do the work and take the actions to be great. Your heart beats because your heart is what keeps you pumping. Your heart is pumping, right? Your heart keeps you pumping. You know, the heart gives you the rhythm. Your heart gets you going. It keeps that blood circulating. So when you make that decision, you're that heart. You're the central, you're the central command center of your life, of everything that you have going on. Because you are the heartbeat of your destiny. So if you got a weak heart, if you fluttering or some of your aortas are clogged, that's the result you're going to get. But if you pumping and you out there and you got your exercise going, your cholesterol good, your blood pressure good, you loving people from a distance when they need to be loved from a distance, you learning how to course correct when the darts don't always hit the bull's eye, baby, ain't nothing stopping you. All right. So we also want to look at our spiritual growth. Now, this is hard because, we talk a lot about how can I be so spiritual? And, we're looking at this world and we want money, power, love, money, power, respect. Okay, sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I love the hip hop. I love the neo soul. I love the lyrics. I probably made those lyrics up too. But no, that's Lil Kim is in that song. I think that's Goody Mob, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know everything. But anyway, but for you to look at your spiritual growth, you want to look inward. You really want to look at how are you able to be a positive reflection of yourself. So to grow spiritually, you need to develop your potentials, your beliefs, your values, your morals, your rules, your experiences, the good works that you do, what people have done for you. All of that is the blueprint for your spiritual journey. To grow spiritually is to search for meaning. So I challenge you here to just write down, what do you believe? There's a higher power. You believe in God or whatever. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. What's the values and the morals that have, I follow the Bible. What are some of the experiences? Some people are still overcoming church hurt. Okay. We already put that on our dartboard. So now how are we getting past that? We're going to another church, right? We identify what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. That's what we are doing. So looking at that and really searching for that meaning. To grow in spirits. Look, when I write stuff and it's good, I got to read it to you, okay? To grow in spirit is to realize that we do not merely exist. For I know the plans I had for you, plans to prosper you and to give you good health. When you look at that, how do we gain that knowledge and wisdom? Those days when you want to just give up. Yeah, I'm as Tara Madam Money Jackson says, I'm a dualpreneur. I go work. I'm very, busy. 9 to 5. I run this business and I have a direct sales business that I can't walk away from. I have a sizable team. I'm busy. So when I just want to lay down and go to sleep and not be a great coach to inspire, encourage others and help my clients get to their next level or to put out a course, or to do an email series on a topic. I got to say, God, you have me doing this for a reason. And I have to trust on that. I have to trust that. I have to open that scripture. I'm doing my daily devotions in the morning, having that me time. So really knowing that there's a higher purpose. We're walking in our purpose. You are uniquely you for a reason. And whatever your gift is, no one can take that away. And the growth spiritually is to recognize interconnections. We are not designed to be alone. It's no accident that you are right here on BlackWoman Confidential. It's no accident that you are hearing this workshop and writing things down and ready to go and get on the email series about building confidence, because we're not designed to be alone. We are stronger and better when we work together. So motivation, y'all. This is a time where we gotta go back to our song, because our song has a second verse. All right. And this is the motivation. So we did our T and we have our heart, our dartboard. But now our motivation is to wrap this up, because I'm coming out. I want the world to know, gotta let it show, I'm coming out. So this is your season. You're coming out stronger, more resilient, and the bomb diggity. So let's just end this. I'm what coming, hey, out, hey, one more time. I'm coming, what, out, hey. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Be sure to go ahead and go to the link provided right here to get on the email list for a free confidence series of emails. Connect with me at coachangelraleigh.com. And I am so excited and honored that you guys spent this session with me. Have a fantastic journey, because you are the heartbeat of your destiny.
Hello, and thanks so much for joining me today. I am Dorothy Wilson, and I want to encourage those of you who are in business. You know, I'm really proud of what I've been able to accomplish. I have 4 thriving businesses, but it hasn't always been so. When I started out as an entrepreneur after spending 28 years in the corporate arena, about 9 years ago, that's when I became an entrepreneur. There was so much that I had to learn, so much that I had to overcome, but I learned from that. And the biggest lessons didn't have to do with my business skills necessarily. And that's why I want to share this with you today. So you may be in business and you're looking at all of the different things that are in front or blocking, or the hurdles that are keeping you from your goals, keeping you from where you want to be in business. You might say, I'm not looking at the numbers. I want to see, I've been working so hard. You know, as an entrepreneur, the day never ends. You start bright and early before everybody else is moving in the house, and then you shift gears and you help your family out the door, and then you're back on it. And then you get home, or you finish up in your home office, and now it's time to get, dinner served, and then you got to get back on it. Now it's time to work on your marketing. You run your business all day. Now you have to work on how to keep it growing. And so it seems like it's endless. You put in so much effort. And then when you don't see the results that you want to see, you can become discouraged. There were some times back in that day, 9 years ago, where many days where I was discouraged. I felt like, am I doing the right thing? Should I just go back and get another corporate job? That would be the easy thing to do. With some of you, you've obtained a measure of success, but you're looking at your team, and your team is not where you want them to be. But you know what? They can't grow past where you've grown. So what's really capping you? It's probably not what you might think it is. What's capping you actually is you. It is your mindset. It is how you think. And that's how you get out of your way. You transform your thinking. You change how you think, how you see yourself. So I want to talk about that for a minute. When I say, girl, get out of your way, I'm talking about this right here, negative thinking. Negative thinking. You bring this into your business when you start it, when you try to grow it. When instead of seeing past your mistakes, you're still looking at things in a negative way. Negative thinking. Negative thinking can literally kill your success. Because before you can obtain anything good, you're going to run into some obstacles. You also are going to run into people who don't believe in your dream, in your vision, who are going to come against you. Don't you know that? Don't allow negative thinking to trip you up, to cause you to take your focus off of what you need to be focusing on. You have to get up daily. I say it this way. You need to eat those negative thoughts for breakfast. Eat them for breakfast. Chew them up. And when you kick off that day, you go forward in confidence. You go forward in full force, not at half of what you could be, half capacity, because negative thinking is holding you by the legs, the arms, and the knees. Negative thinking can trip you up. Negative thinking can keep you from going as far and as fast as you want to go. Next, pride. Pride. Yeah, I know this is not what you thought I would be talking about when I said I was going to be talking to you about growing your business and about business success. Pride, pride, pride. Pride gets in the way, and it causes you not to accept help. It causes you not to reach out. It causes you not to cry uncle when you're failing. You keep trying to press through. You keep trying to do it on your own. Guess what? You weren't meant to do it on your own. There are people around you, specific people who are part of your destiny, who are part of your journey. Your goal is to open your eyes and be able to see them. Your goal, your role is to let them in. Your goal in your role is to give them the platform or the opportunity to be able to speak into your life, to speak encouragement. And guess what? Some of those people who you need to open up to and allow to speak in your life, they may be in the same line of business that you're in. Don't worry about that. If you've been led to them, open the door and look in and say, hey, can this person help me? What do they have that I need? Are they willing to offer encouragement? I'm going to set aside my pride. I'm going to set aside feeling like I don't want to look needy. I don't want to look like I need anybody. I don't want to look like I'm failing. Well, you can go ahead and fail as you're worried about looking like you're failing. Set aside your pride. Failure. Guess what? In every business, there are going to be initiatives that are going to fail. And sometimes your whole business concept is not working and it will fail. It's not about how many times you fail. It is about how many times you're willing to get up and pivot. When I look at the number of businesses that have struggled because of COVID, versus the number of businesses that are striving and surging forward as a result of COVID. It's phenomenal to see that instead of struggling, there are so many businesses out there who are making more profits. They're more successful than they ever could have been had COVID not happened. So you know what? That goes back to thinking. That goes back to thinking. If you see what's blocking you, what is in front of you as an opportunity, if you embrace it as an opportunity, you can overcome the failure, you can overcome the difficulty, the challenge, you can overcome it. And then, of course, fear. Fear, fear, fear. What if? Take that what if and turn it around and say, instead of what if something negative, say, what if I am more successful than I've ever been as a result of me moving forward in this? Change that what if around. Look at the big picture. See the big picture and walk toward the big picture. But sometimes it's difficult to do that because of comparison. That's the next thing I want to talk about. Comparison. When you're looking at what's on someone else's plate, when you're looking at how someone else is doing it, when you're looking at how successful someone else is in their lane, and you're distracted by it. And so you're really not focused on your own vision. You're not focused on your own lane. Comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's the thief of joy. You could have been perfectly content with how your business was operating until you begin to look at somebody else's business. Stay in your lane so that you can stay focused and that you can run faster. Okay? Self-doubt. Self-doubt. You know what? Every successful person felt like they didn't have everything they needed to be successful when they started. That actually is the very definition of what a successful person looks like. It is the person who was able to overcome obstacles and challenges and still succeed. That's the definition of success. Do you want to be successful? Are you a success? Then leap right over those self-doubts, run right over them, run right past them, and tell them, get up in the morning and speak to them and say, sit down and shut up. I'm on a journey. I'm on a mission. I have someplace to go. I have something that I'm going to accomplish. I will not doubt what is in me. It is who I am, and it is who I'm destined to be. I won't doubt that. And then talking about, again, looking back, past hurts. Things that have hurt you in the past, sometimes we can carry them all of our lives and they can limit us. Because you were put down, because you were kicked, because you were hurt, because you were talked about, because you were abused. If that is who you think you are, or you're operating out of who you were back then, or what someone else said, or what someone else did, if you're operating out of that in a negative way, if you're allowing that to hold you back, guess what? You are still giving that person who hurt you power over you. Think about that. You have to determine in your heart that they will no longer hold you, that they will no longer have any power over you. You have to speak to that hurt and say, I am past that now. I am whole. I am healed. I am thriving. Speak those things that are not as though they were. And then the more you speak it, your thinking begins to transform and you're changed. So how do you push past these things? Here are a few quick tips. This is how to kick the lid off of what's holding and capping your success. Number one, recognize your why. Your why. Why are you doing what you do? If you're doing it because somebody else is doing it, you saw somebody else be successful, so you thought you would try it, Okay. You can have success, but you'll never be as successful as you could be, because this is not your passion and this is not your purpose. When you recognize your why, it will unlock your destiny. You will have the energy to be able to do what it is that you were destined to do. Back in 2012, I had worked in newspapers for 28 years, have been very successful. But as newspapers began to lose ground, I was laid off. And the easy answer for me was to get another job in corporate. You know, that paycheck was just like crack. Benefits was just like crack. But the hard choice was to ask myself, what is it that I was made to do? What is it that I was made to do? And I chose to reach out into my destiny. And now I have joy, I have passion, I have contentment. Every morning when I get up, I don't think of it as going to work. I am privileged to go do what I love, what I am passionate about, which is building platforms to amplify women's messages and to elevate their influence. And I do that through publishing magazines, through helping them market themselves, through coaching them in business. So recognize your why. What were you created to do? What were you created to do? Growing up as a little girl, I watched my mama not realize her fullest potential, the destiny that she had in front of her. She was smart. She was humorous. She had so much potential, but she didn't realize that. She didn't realize that. She was locked into an abusive marriage, an abusive situation. And I couldn't help my mama, but I can help other women. I can help other people be able to walk forward into their destiny. And that's what I'm doing. That is my why, is unlocking the potential in other people. What is your why? Next, number 2, transform your thinking, and your life and your business will follow. As a person thinketh, so is he. I think of a book called Relentless. And in the front part of that book, it talks about Kobe Bryant. And it talks about his success and how he was so relentless in his goals and his vision for what he wanted to do. And Kobe was injured one night while he was playing in a game. And Kobe got up after his ankle was injured, and he went to the free throw line. And the question wasn't for Kobe, can I stand here and shoot the ball? The question for Kobe was, how many of these shots I'm going to make? Am I going to make one, or am I going to make 2? Well, Kobe shot that ball and he sunk 2 that night. And then he left the court and he went into the locker room, and he had to have some medical treatment for an torn Achilles tendon, some things that had happened with his ankle. But he wasn't focused on his pain. He wasn't focused on the obstacle. He was relentless. And we have to be relentless. Change your thinking about what it is you're doing and how you're doing it. Be relentless. Be unstoppable. Don't let something hold you back. Number 3, have the discipline to start. When you see something and you get excited about it and you see the potential, have the discipline to prioritize what's in front of you so you can start. But you also need to have the discipline and the courage to know when to stop doing something. See, one of the things that many small business owners struggle with is they're trying to do too many things at the same time. Sometimes you have to take something out into the parking lot and you just have to kill it. Yes, it may be a great idea, but maybe the timing's not right. Yes, it may be a great idea, but maybe it's not the highest priority right now. So focus, prioritize, and also make sure you're not standing around waiting on somebody else to affirm what God has already confirmed for you. And that's what I mean when I say have the discipline to start. Quit waiting when you know inside here that this is something that you are supposed to do, get going with it. I look at the Success Women's Conference, in our annual conference that we had a few months ago. We had 17,000 women engaged in that conference. Who would have imagined back in 2015 when Karen Cherry and I were sitting around the table chatting on Fridays while I was working with her on her marketing, and we would talk about, why don't someone create a conference for women that does this, does that, and does this? Who would have thought that this could have happened, that this could become a global movement? Well, it did. And we had to get past, why don't someone else do it? And we had to do it. We had to have the discipline to start. Did we have time to add this to our plate? No, we sure didn't. Did we have the money to make it happen? No, we sure didn't. But we launched that conference, and in the first year, we had over 500 people attend. We were hoping for 250. Have the discipline to start. We had to also stop doing some other things so that we could get it done. And how do you know when to stop? You need to have systems, metrics, priorities in place so that you can measure and know when something is successful and it's not successful. Too often in business, women, men, you're looking at just the money. The money is important. The revenue is important, but that is not the main or the only measure of success. Put all the metrics on the table. You could be making a lot of money at something, but it could be keeping you from something that is a higher priority that could make you more money. Okay? So you have to have systems, metrics, and processes in place so you can know when you need to shift. Just a few other things. Be willing to empower your team members. They're there to help you. They're there to ensure your success. If you are looking or thinking that if it has to be done right, then you'll have to do it, you're capping your success. You can only be as successful as what you could do in a day. Multiply yourself. Think of it this way. If you have someone on your team who could do something 70% as well as you could do it, give them a chance. Yes, you may need to check in on them, but let them do it so that you can focus on the things that you need to focus on. So also know what your blind spots and your weaknesses are. And when you're hiring and when you're contracting and when you're adding virtual team members, you want to fill in the gaps based on what your blind spots and your weaknesses are. So I am a big picture person. I am a creative. I am in the clouds, so to speak, most of the time. That's the place. That's what I'm passionate about. I can see in the future and I can see opportunities and I have the courage to surge forward and reach and embrace and reach toward those opportunities. But in the day-to-day, I need people around me who have really, really good people skills. Because sometimes in looking forward and looking ahead at the big people, I may not pay enough attention to the people who are around me. I may not stroke them enough. I may not acknowledge them enough. And so I surround myself, my assistant, my office manager, great people skills. My sales manager, great people skills. Surround yourself with people who fill in your gaps. And then finally, have the determination to win. Keep your eye on the prize. If you don't have to fight to get there, it's not worth having. If it's worth having, you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to push past all of those things that we just talked about. Think about this. In 1886, Coca-Cola, you know how profitable Coca-Cola is. They were only selling 9 drinks a day, Coca-Cola. That was their first year. Pharmacist John Pemberton, he was the one who created the formula. He was not trying to create Coca-Cola, by the way. He only sold 25 gallons of syrup in that first year. And guess what? For his efforts, Pemberton grossed $50 and he spent $73.96 on advertising. You see the point there. Be determined. Leap over the hurdles. Have your eye on the prize. Be determined to win. Sync your thinking up with winning. And girl, it's time to get out of your way.
America's racial wealth gap. So in 2016, the net worth between whites and blacks was massive. As you can see, $171,000 was the net worth of whites, as opposed to $17,150 for blacks. In 2019, that net worth increased to $437,000 for whites, and for blacks it increased to $105,000. Now granted, that was an increase for blacks of 513%. However, there's still a 123% gap between the net worth of whites or white Americans as opposed to black Americans. Between 1983 and 2013, the wealth for whites increased by 14%. But get this, for blacks, it decreased by 75%. So let's put that in context. Basically, if we use the $17,150 that black wealth was back in 2016, because it is closest to the 2013, a decline of 75% would be a net worth of $4,287.50 per black family. Okay, that's just the numerical context. When COVID hit, or when the pandemic actually started back in April of 2020, for black businesses, 2 out of 5 were forced to shut down completely in April only. Okay, so we're talking about roughly maybe a month once things shut down, versus 1 out of 5 for white businesses. When it comes to investments in the stock market, whites participate 60%. Okay, 60% of whites participate in the stock market versus blacks. Blacks only participate 36%. When it comes to retirement, blacks have only 46% of the retirement wealth of whites. And when it comes to home ownership, blacks are 40% less likely to own their own homes than whites are. So, you ask, is there a solution? Yes, there is definitely a solution. My name is Jasenia Gibson, and I am the owner of the Gibson Financial Group, and I'm going to discuss with you what every Black family should be discussing at their dinner table or at any table at any time, all the time. I'm going to share with you the secret to financial wholeness. So let's get to it. Like I said, I am going to go ahead and reveal the secret to financial wholeness. And I'm going to kind of show you briefly what that looks like. There are 4 elements to financial wholeness, and they are very simple. although not many Black families know about it, or impoverished families know about it. So hopefully this will actually open your eyes to it. Here are the 4 elements to financial wholeness. First is going to be literacy. Then you have savings, insurance, and investments. Okay, let's talk about them individually. Let's start with literacy. Okay, financial literacy. Basically, all that means is we must educate ourselves and our families about financial literacy. We want to educate ourselves about money. You want to gain an understanding of money and how money or currency is meant to be used. Currency, flow. Money is meant to flow. Okay. You want to change your relationship with money. While money is needed and is very helpful, it is not the end all be all. You have to have a different relationship, not a toxic relationship with money. You also want to change the BS of money, and it's the belief system. I know many of you thought something else, but it's your belief system of money. You want to change that. Your mindset of money needs to be changed. You have to think of it in a more positive way, okay? And understanding credit. You have to understand how credit helps and how the use of other people's money is going to be beneficial to achieving financial wholeness. So growing up, my mom had a wonderful way of teaching us about money. Whenever my sister and I would ask for something that cost money, she had a Spanish response that translated to this. And I hope you don't get offended, but it's actually a PG version. So we would ask, hey, Mom, can we get this? And her response would be, with what money? Must be with the hairs of my vajayjay, right? And so that's very similar to what a lot of you have heard, which is money doesn't grow on trees or that sort of stuff. But that's how she taught us about money. Okay. And that kind of thought process was thinking about money as being scarce. It was a scarcity belief system. And so we want to make sure that we change that. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next one, insurance. Okay. We are legally bound to have auto insurance, right? You can't drive a car without having auto insurance. And so legally you have to have one. And that's the way it should be with life insurance, right? Even Obamacare. Yeah, you have a choice. You can either get medical insurance or pay the penalty, right? But it's one or the other, right? And so life insurance should be the same way, okay? Life insurance is your love act to your family, okay? January 2nd of 2021. My brother-in-law fell ill about 3:30 in the morning, and he was taken to the hospital. Now, we're still in COVID, so at the hospital, my sister couldn't be there, his kids couldn't be there. They just took him to the hospital and he was there. By 3:30 that afternoon, my sister and her 2 teen boys had to make the decision of pulling the plug or taking him off life support. So on January 2nd, my family lost my brother-in-law. But not only was that, of course, that was the hardest thing. My brother-in-law was 39 years old. He had 2 teenage boys. He had no life insurance, no savings, no plan for the future, no college fund for his kids. Okay, no living will, no trust, nothing to dictate what to do with him should he be in an incapacitated situation, which he was. So not only does my sister now have to raise her 2 boys by herself with 1 less income, She had to do a GoFundMe account just to help bury him. Okay. She has no savings. One of her sons is in college. He's now going to have to work to be able to pay for college. And so when I say that this is the love act for your family, this is the love act. This is the one act that you can do, or anyone can do, for their family members to show them that they truly love them, is to make sure that you provide protection and planning for the future, because you just never know. Okay. That's just life insurance. However, we're talking about long-term care. You know, what if my brother-in-law could have not recovered and could not work again? And he would have to have care for the rest of his life. Okay. These are things that we have to plan for and we have to think about. Okay. That's an element to financial wholeness. You may not see it that way, but it is. Okay. Savings. There are 4 types of savings that you should have. Every household should have. You need to have an emergency fund. What does that mean? An emergency fund means that you should have at least 3 months worth of your expenses saved up. Should your car break down? You know, if you fall ill, can't work, anything, it's an emergency fund. Okay. The other savings that you should have is a job loss fund. Okay. In this fund, you should have at least, experts say, 6 months or $20,000. I personally, especially in today's time during this pandemic, I say that 9 months is the most savvy for you to have saved up. Is 9 months worth of expenses that you have saved up should you lose your job. Okay, critical. You don't ever touch that. Okay, you just leave it, and you just don't ever touch it unless you or your spouse or whoever else you depend on loses their job. Okay, then you have to have a fun fund. Okay, this is a fun fund basically to plan your vacations. This is to help you buy a bigger television, or, you know, upgrade your kitchen. These are things that make you happy, that, you know, is for enjoyment. You should have one. And it's short term. Okay. You decided you were saving for a vacation. You went and you took your vacation. You used up the money. You replenish it. You start all over again. Okay. It's a short term fund. And then you have your long term fund, which is going to be a retirement. It's going to be a 401k. Is going to be, you know, anything that's going to help in the long run. The minimum is going to be 10 years, you know, from now, that you'll be saving before you use it. Okay. That would be the 4 savings accounts or types of savings that you should have. And then we'll talk about investments. Okay. So the top portion is going to show you multiple streams of income. Okay. So that's going to be investment dividends. So if you invested in the stock market or a startup or some sort of company and you're getting paid dividends, right? That's one stream of income. Then you have rental properties. Okay. That's another stream of income. Your savings, whether it be the interest that you earn on the savings, precious metals or items of value like artwork. And then business investments, you know, again, if you invest in a